Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Metaworld News. This is a bulletin where we bring you news about virtual worlds, particularly social immersive spaces, and a little bit about the underlying VR tech, if it's important enough too. And the date today is, I'm very glad to say, April the 2nd of 2017. Given the confusion in the feeds yesterday, I think it would have been highly inappropriate to have tried to bring you any serious news. So April the 2nd it is, and we are much relieved.
Indeed.
Right, I'm Mal Burns, and I'm joined also by my colleague James Atloud, and we're bringing it all to you now. You can follow my Twitter feed, by the way, at twitter.com/malburns, that's MALBURNS, or one word, where there is various pertinent links posted regarding VR and the sort of things you hear on this show. And indeed, I'm going to start the news with highlights from that feed in summary form. Beginning, literally last Monday, I guess, a site called uploadvr.com had a post, the title of which is "Why Social VR Probably Won't Work the Way Social VR Developers Think." Exactly. So they're basically saying that some of the developers, especially when it comes to social VR, are probably on a track of their own, and it probably won't end up working the way they maybe in their sort of laboratories or whatever think it's going to, which is so often the case. As we found out very recently in a number of ways. Right, virtuality-news.net has a post about property marketing. 3D property tools could be about to change the real estate business. Nothing particularly new there, except there's an example of obviously realtors, they call them, I believe, in America, real estate agents, we call them here, are taking huge advantage for giving previews, mostly for spherical photo panorama kind of previews of locations they are aspiring to sell to customers, basically. As usual, on Monday, there was up at YouTube, the link's on my feed. There was the latest edition of VR Review News. This is kind of an illustrated talk-over slideshow of the latest stuff happening in the greater VR front, and published by Roblan VR. And it's a good roundup once a week. 4 days ago, right, back to medium.com. I seem to find a lot of little features at medium.com recently. One post is called Virtual Reality as Possibility Space. And basically, it's an author who says, I'd like to invite you to reimagine what content could mean as virtual reality is finally becoming a reality. That kind of thread. Also on Medium, another post, it was the next day, I think Wednesday or Thursday maybe, Virtual Reality: The Next Frontier. Basically, Chief Technology Officer at Newseum, which is a sort of virtual museum kind of thing, Mitch Gallen says it's not an industry that this isn't going to touch. So the hype continues, but well worth reading. On the entertainment front, HTC Vive, which is one of the headset variations, has teamed up with Warner Brothers. They've joined forces for Ready Player One. Now, Ready Player One is a Steven Spielberg movie that's about to come out shortly. It is based on a well-known book called Ready Player One that looks at a future where the virtual world is more or less almost everything. And it's also a homage to various games and things of the past. But they have teamed up with HTC Vive to obviously bring you a companion app, which will be a virtual reality app, which, given the footage they must be making for this movie, I imagine the two might go together rather well. But sight unseen at the moment, and there's more about that at virtuality-news.net. A post from David over at Maria's site, Hypergrid Business, about app lets you configure your VR viewer. This is many people, as you remember Maria saying here in the past, an awful lot. Many people have got, there must be thousands of these different cardboard style headsets now, and half of them don't have QR codes or anything. So this is really a little article about, if you've got an unbranded one without a QR code, etc., there are various ways of configuring it to get the best result out of it. And geekygadgets.com, that's actually geeky, Geeky dash gadgets, which is GADGETS, in case you don't know. Geeky-gadgets.com. They have an article called Lightform Transforms Your Home into a Giant Screen Using Projected AR. Now, on the surface, this is about AR, augmented reality, but of course, a lot of the technologies involved here are just as adaptable to VR. Or aspects of VR, and this is quite a nice looking set. It's not something that's actually available yet, but the illustration shows a sort of pair of sunglasses type things and various smart devices that will link to it into a room. And one thing I have, this has been done by a team of developers and creators from Adobe, Microsoft and Disney. So with those three companies, people from those companies involved, it's obviously quite serious. It actually, there's something that occurred to me personally. I'll talk later elsewhere about this, but the idea that you, just as a decent platform is just as good on a screen as it is in all kinds of headsets, really. Is it necessary to think of 360 environments? It may be the idea that you're standing in front of a screen and the screen is 180 degrees that still gives you the freedom to look the way you would normally do. You have a constantly moving screen in front of you, so everything moves a bit like your avatar moves in a virtual world, where it's still always at the front of your screen, and it's actually the world that adapts to the view rather than you moving into the world, even though the illusion's the other way around. Philosophical stuff there. I better move on for now. Right. VentureBeat, a couple of days ago, an article on High Fidelity again. High Fidelity is a forthcoming platform. It is in open beta or alpha at the moment, and it's been developed by Philip Rosedale, who, of course, with many others now, who, of course, was the founder of Second Life back in the day. And this is essentially a glorified embellishment of a press release. High Fidelity uses limitless VR to enable users to create 3D avatars. And basically, what's happened is High Fidelity have got together with a company who are actually called Limitless, right, which explains the headline. Limitless specialize in tools to make it very easy to create animated characters and stories in virtuality. And so they've got a partnership with High Fidelity. So presumably you can hire go to the Limitless plugin and use Limitless to do all the work of making your avatar for you if you're too lazy to do it yourself. As would I be. Okay. Now, following this program, or this half an hour after this news bulletin, we will be coming to you live with our weekly in-world review, and we will be looking back on an event that happened this week called VWBPE, Virtual World's Best Practices in Education. Part of that did include a broadcast interview on Wednesday with Ebbe Oldberg, the CEO of Second Life, in fact. And basically it's an hour-long chat about all sorts of things and proved to be very interesting. So the link to the YouTube playback is on my feed as well. Oculus co-founder Palmer Luckey leaves Facebook. Well, I think this is rather inevitable.
Big surprise there.
Yeah, he has been very quiet since he opened his mouth in something connected with Trump supporting, and clearly despite the election win, not many people seem to approve of Trump's supporters. He put his money where his mouth was, which is even worse because the Trump guy's got enough of his own.
I think it
Anyway,
was particular was supporting fake news was the
yeah,
aspect of support, right?
yeah. Well, I don't know. He spent $10,000, which isn't really that much money, but to one group who were spreading pro-Trump memes, and I guess those memes were the fake truth. Yeah, what's new? What's new these days?
Right.
Anyway, who knows why? But he has now left. Not in the Oculus, but he's left Facebook too. So he may have co-founded the thing. And that's arguable too, isn't it? He may have co-founded the Oculus thing, but he seems to be out of the picture now. He's no doubt sitting on massive shareholdings, so I'm not yet. I'm not crying too much
No
about
tears.
that. No tears. Hey, we're getting to opinions in the news here. Shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that. Oopsie daisy, he says. Okay, passive and interactive storytelling in VR. This is a post yesterday day before at virtualrealitypop.com. That's virtual reality and then pop as in pop music, but spelt all one word, virtualrealitypop.com. Passive and interactive storytelling in VR. We hear a lot these days about virtual reality as a great medium for interactive storytelling. Producers seem keen to get an interactive element into every damn VR piece, no matter how minor or blah, blah, blah. It is basically looking at storytelling in VR, what's necessary, what isn't, where storytelling is concerned. Particularly pointing out that just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to do it if it's not relevant to the thing you're creating, kind of thing. Right, curators cautiously venture into virtuality. This is a post at theartnewspaper.com. The Art Newspaper is spelled as all one word, so it's theartnewspaper.com. And again, we're coming back to museums and their use of virtuality, exploring unbuilt architecture, or visiting a recreation of the first ever photography exhibition. In other words, it's not a photography exhibition in the museum, it's in a virtuality replica of an early one, etc., etc. So that's kind of interesting. What are the unique requirements, you may ask, of public VR? This is a post at ReadWrite. I think it's readwrite.com. It's spelled all one word. This actually looks at some of the lesser considered things, which is always worth looking at, like how long should you be in one of these headsets, for example. I was talking to went out Dave Burden at Dayton earlier in the week, and I was making a parallel to the days when we had cathode ray tube monitors, and the unions and would sort of insist that for every 20 minutes on screen you needed 15 minutes off. And when you consider the impact of these huge high density screens in front of your eyes in headset contraptions and stuff like that, apparently apparently I was led to believe that the official analysis of this is that you would not be, if it was, for example, the workplace, your employer would not be allowed to let you wear a headset for more than 7 minutes and then have 10 minutes off. So it's worse than the cathode ray tube days, if you see what I mean. The risk of exposure and particularly the mental effect it has on your productivity. You would have to actually take a virtuality headset off after 7 minutes and have a good break, which puts an aspect, as it were, on the way the contraptions will be used. And other features in this article are things like sanitation. As Maria often said here, probably the out-of-home VR experience in terms of hardware will take off long before anybody other than the hardcore gamers get the stuff at home. I'm not including cardboard here. I'm talking about the high-end stuff. And if you it costs you £1,000 for a treadmill in the home, but a treadmill in a health club is 10 times more expensive. It's not only better, but it has to withstand heavy use and everything else, and also keeping the equipment clean. If all this hardware is being strapped on customers coming into places, obviously it needs to be kept clean and stuff, and sanitary before the next person takes over with the same headset or the same tactile equipment, especially if it's in sensitive areas like your eyes and nose. So an interesting look at, it's okay going on about technology, but you've got to remember this side to the impact of things too. Now, voicesofvr.com, number 521. There have been plenty in the week. This is the historical context of VR and elemental theory of presence. And Kent Bai, I think it's Kent Bai, isn't it? Who does Voices of VR? Get my names confused sometimes. Actually gave a keynote himself at Silicon Valley Virtual Reality. There was also, I haven't got a link for it, a presentation on high fidelity there. I was talking to Ebby Linder in the week, obviously, and I said, you're trying to be in two places at once. And he then said, no, I've shoveled off somebody else to SSVR. He preferred to be with us, which was nice. Now here's one that came up yesterday, and it's at a site called pionic.org. That's PIONIC, and one word, .org. And fabric over plastic, how the beautiful VR mild will change your VR experience. Now, I looked at this picture and I got very excited, but then I thought, hang on, it's April the 1st. And I still do not know whether this was a prank or whether it's real. But if it's real, it looks rather nice indeed. The idea is take away all this heavy-duty plastic on headsets and use fabric, nice and lightweight and gently flows like water, mimicking natural states. And apparently it's no different from present VR headsets, but also it's better and has to be. You can tell there's a sales pitch going on here. But one look at this photo and it really is rather nice, and they do go into some kind of detail. They also show you a hand controller that comes with it, and they show you an inside view so you can see where the lenses are sort of occupying the space you would normally see in a headset, but rather neatly and more compactly. It really looks like a pair of glasses, rather bulky visor, and a controller. And quite frankly, that's the closest thing yet to the sort of thing that I might just use. So on the assumption that it wasn't an April Fool's joke, and that they have created this lovely looking device, you might want to check that one out at pionic.org. Right, VR Physio is the name of the app. Evan Orr needed physical therapy, but he found the hard way that it wasn't easy to do. So it is Tel Aviv, Israeli-based company. Founded VR Physio, which is enables patients to do physical therapy in virtual reality. And that, I'm sure, will come in very, very useful too. I'd rather know what that's like. Right, the Eco Guide to Virtual Reality. Eco being ECO, ecology, environmental, whatever, green, whatever you want to call it. Actually, that's posted in today's Guardian, or I suspect it's in the Observer, because the Guardian turns into the Observer on Sundays. Either that, it was yesterday. It's actually got a picture of Prince Charles, of all people, wearing the most odd virtual reality contraption I've ever seen. It does actually look like a pair of square sunglasses with strange sort of tentacles hanging out of it. In fact, it's absurdly funny. Well, I can assure you it is Prince Charles. I know exactly what it looks like, even when he is covered in a pretty awful headset.
That's funny.
It is indeed. Anyway, so that's that. And that's it for the general sort of interest posts. I'm now going briefly across to which one is this that I'm looking at? I don't know. I think it's good. Yes, it's Google Plus. Um, Not a great deal new this week. No, in fact, simply I posted on Google Plus a number of videos, some professional, some rather more amateur, taken at this year's VWBP conference. And let me see, in the Metaworld stream, which is twitter.com/Metaworld News, it's the stream for this show, as it were, when there is anything newly relevant for the Hyperverse. And in fact, yes. Okay. 3 days ago, I've only got one thing here actually, and this was an announcement from Littlefield Grid, which is a hypergrid-enabled region. Or grid, should I say, on the hypergrid. And they were announcing a couple of days ago, we're sorry to announce that Littlefield Grid will be discontinuing the Goodwill hypergrid market as of today, 2 days ago. And once again, unfortunately, it's down to the freebie content that may not have been freebie content and stuff. So they're in, I don't know exactly what was happened, but they did receive some complaints or something, so they've actually closed that region down. Their final comment in the post, interestingly, is saying it's a shame that Open Simulator doesn't behave more like a community. However, it's not unexpected, and as a result, they have closed that hypergrid Goodwill facility down. The Goodwill facility was literally an exchange place for goods, as in Goodwill, etc. Anyway, that's life. So that is it from all my feeds, actually. Finally, however, though, I've got James here with a little bit of an update, I believe, from the developers mob. Oh, sorry, wrong
Mob.
Oh, sorry. Clique? What should I call them? The hypergrid.
Community. The community is good, right? I do, in fact. I was able to attend the office hours on Tuesday, and actually there was quite a group there. About 10 people showed up. A couple of new participants came to the office hours, and the discussion really was about the Infinite Metaverse Alliance. That really was the primary discussion, and I believe that Steve Levine was there. I wasn't familiar with the avatar name, but I think he was there to help talk about the IMA. And really, the topic focused on, with Open Simulator, the permissions testing needs to be undertaken, and so the discussion was to as working groups form in the IMA. To have a working group that would help with the permissions testing for Open Simulator. So to me, it felt like a very productive discussion. And my sense was that there was a great sense of openness, there was a great sense of cooperation, and some interest by developers. So I took it as a really positive meeting. Let me just remind you, of course, the notes from this meeting are published on the opensimulator.org website in the developers section. And so completely public discussion to review. And I came away with a real hopeful feeling from the meeting.
Whoa, wonderful.
Yep.
Always good to know they're alive and kicking.
That's right.
And they didn't collapse in April Fool's prank.
Absolutely.
Right.
And they're so, the community there is extremely well intentioned. And just has the greatest passion for what they're doing. They are real people with real limited resources and limited time. So, I think the sense of openness that we can continue to cultivate is going to be really helpful.
Indeed.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think we've got a wrap there for this week. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Just a reminder that this program takes absolutely no liability for the content of the links, especially the last 2 days. But as far as I know, they are all true, as opposed to alternative truths or falsehoods. But don't blame me if they're not. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.